Patricia, fair enough. Tim, I take it it's Tim.
It's Tim?
Not Tim.
Well, let's go biblical with this.
All right, then.
If that's my freedom to
Timothy,
still do.
you are up.
All right.
You ready for it?
Thank you for having us and yielding the floor at this time. I want to go a little refutation and get at my point of positive matter and explain how this is actually going to cause more religious harm, more oppression to people in their freedom of religion, which we totally support and believe that people will prosper in society and have a better society under our model, which is opposing their draconian and old style of governing. So we wanted some specifics. We continue to ask, what is hate speech? Okay, so we got some definitions about it's inciting violence, which we said is still illegal. But then she defined it again. It's saying causing hatred or attacking. So then we go back to the beliefs. So over here they are criminalizing someone's beliefs. And then we went to the UN, so she said we're not going to focus on how to prosecute it. And it's going to go theoretical. Let's have a theoretical debate. Great. The reason that she's not going to go on how you can prosecute it is because you can't do it, because it's criminalizing someone's belief. So I think they squirreled the way out of there. So then she talks about the burqa ban, which we find oppressive of people's religious freedom, which we're going to support over here and show you how we value by making society better. And then she says inciting violence, which we said illegal. I already said that, I'm sorry. But we think that religious tolerance comes from strong support of people's freedom of expression, which we want to support. Their freedom of belief to associate a religion. And so let me get into that in my point of positive matter. So we're going to say three things today. That hate speech is not valid. It's not correct. It's not official. We're not going to recognize the idea of hate speech. Number two, freedom of speech is the most important value to anyone's human rights. So if the UN is going to look at this, they should understand that as we've advanced through society, freedom of speech and freedom of religion, is the most important value. And three, that this is going to cause religious freedom to be harmed, right? So people's rights to associate, to organize, to express their beliefs and to engage will be harmed greatly. So let me get into the introduction, or let me get into the positive matter. Christianity opposes women's rights. Islam is racist. Anything I can say. Atheism is ungodly and is not a good way for someone's life. These three statements are going to be illegal under their model, and we don't stand for that. So the first thing is that this is artificial construction, right? Hate speech is about criminalizing someone's opinion to oppress a group. So I'll take your point.
Don't you think there's a unique difference between saying something like the Christian religion oppresses women and saying all people who are Christian are inherently evil to society? Okay,
or how about this? Let's see, Islam is a bad religion, and I'm going to draw a cartoon of Prophet Muhammad. Oh wait, that happened in Denmark, and a person was killed for that, and there were mobs of people that shut down a newspaper, and now you can no longer draw the Prophet Muhammad because of fear of violence. So instead, we should protect people's right to freely speak their opinion and to freely associate, instead of oppressing and criminalizing someone's belief. So thank you for bringing that up. We have a few reasonable exceptions. Let's get into the language and of language, right? So libel and slander in most Western countries are not legal, right? Because, or actually because you can sue through the civil court, which is a great way to go. Instead of criminalizing someone's opinion, if they say something bad about it, you can sue. You can't say fire in a building because that's something that's bad, because everyone will cause a harm. And then inciting violence, we already said we agreed upon that, is an exception. So there are reasonable exceptions. But we're saying criminalizing thought is not on the table, and we're not standing up for that, because as we've advanced through society and as each revolution has forwarded humanity, it was all from questioning things. So we don't value hate speech. So let me get on freedom of speech, right? So we think that's a fundamental humanity belief that in human dignity or human character, right? Or as they said, the Human Rights Council is looking at this, is that freedom of speech and freedom of religion should be the absolute first priority and first thing that should be protected before life and liberty, but that's closely associated, and that comes with your belief, right? The founding of the United States, which we're here for, and we say the UN should support, the founding of the country was based on the fact that in Britain, the government and the religious institution, the Catholic Church, got together to oppress people's beliefs. And they, of course, did it for the common good, because if everyone just believed in the Catholic way, then society would be great, right? And you shouldn't be saying things that hurt other people, like we don't believe in the Catholic doctrine, because that's not good for society. So we don't value the religion or the institution. We value the individual, and we think that society will advance and come together as religious people have their beliefs and actually come together. And we think that the moderate, even if there's nut jobs on either side, if you have the freedom of speech, the moderate people will come together in the end, right? There's always going to be the KKK, and there's always going to be fascist people on the other side. We believe the moderate, peaceful people will come to the end if they have the right to express that. And if we have any laws going down the way that vary off of that and criminalize someone's belief, which we think that this is where they're going, then we won't have peace in society because religions won't be able to express themselves. Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, we're not trying to criminalize the beliefs of an individual or the thoughts of an individual. All we're doing is recognize that we have to criminalize the particular means by which an individual might express that belief or might express that thought.
Okay.
That seems to be something that's confusing.
So Prime Minister says anything that causes hatred or attacking. So attacking would be violent. So if you're not saying attacking with a knife, then you're saying attacking their belief. So therefore their opinion is not illegal anymore because someone can't have that opinion because it hurts someone else's feelings. Your right to be offended ends at your nose, right? And so as long as someone's not punching at your nose, then your right to be offended stops at you. We clearly believe this. And the South Park evidence, the Van Gogh example that I used earlier with Denmark, where he was murdered because of his beliefs, those aren't acceptable things. We don't believe that. And then, as I mentioned earlier about freedom of religion is going to cause oppression. My partner's going to get into that a little bit more about how this is actually hypocritical because atheists aren't going to have beliefs not to associate with a religion because they can't criticize a religion, so they can't organize. So what have we told you today? That absolutely our priority is that we're not going to respect the idea of freedom of speech. We don't like the plan that they have not solidly proposed over here. We don't like the idea, but we're going to stand here for freedom of speech and say that that is the best for society, and that freedom of religion is utmost important. And that's you'll vote with us today when you know that society will be better off. Religious people will be protected, respected, and freely able to practice their religion peacefully under our model. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tim.